The reasons for the loss of biodiversity, the biggest thing, the biggest challenge which we are facing right now. Almost every day we hear about this particular problem, and this thing is climate change. Don't you guys agree? That climate change is one of the biggest threats that, if not now, maybe in next 25 to 30 years would be the most eminent or has the most potential to cause damage or threat to the biodiversity. Okay, now I have a question for you. Okay, shall I ask one? Tell me the first ever species which got extincted due to climate change. The species was in news recently. In fact, the first time it came into news in 2018, and recently it was said that we now can say that the species has extincted. It used to be found in Australia. Okay, fine. It was a species of mouse. Chua, mouse. Melomus cray bamble नाम का एक छोटा सा चूहा. It's a small species of mouse who got extincted because of climate change. Temperature increased. They have a habit of living in optimum climate, could not bear it. Okay, first time it was reported in 2014 that the numbers, they have gone to 0. We haven't seen anything. In 2019 the news came, we haven't seen any of these species in the last 5 years. And finally it was decided, it was in fact declared that Melomus cray bamble species of mouse, it has extincted and has become the first species that got extinct because of climate change. Okay. No, it was not an indicator species there, but there are species who have the tendency to live in an optimum climate. No? That's why you cannot call that particular species as an indicator species there. Okay. So the biggest challenge is climate change that we have. Biodiversity obviously has got its own impact. These things, especially climate change, the survival becomes very difficult. Okay, and climate change is not just pertaining to rise in the ocean level, it also refers to increase in temperature. In fact, now we can see in India, northern part of the country, okay, the place where we are living, just 15 years ago, like touching 42, 43 degrees used to be a very big deal. It's too hot. It's too hot. Now we have adapted ourselves to 45 degrees Celsius. 45 is like okay. 46. And we have seen this thing in the summers. So there would be a particular point of time till when we will be managing it. But as this temperature is increasing, the entropy or the randomness is also increasing, and at one particular point of time this randomness would peak, that would ultimately lead to extinction of humans as well. Now, many species of we cannot understand the animals, we cannot understand their languages, but there are various animals who are not able to bear such extremely high temperatures. So ultimately, where exactly are we going? We are ultimately deteriorating the biodiversity. So the biggest threat can be called as biodiversity. To the biodiversity would be climate change. Second thing, loss of habitat and fragmentation. Okay, loss of habitat. They used to live in village. You thought there should be an exclusive colony here. You started cutting down all the trees and everything, and you have established a lovely colony. It was a habitat. It was a niche for a particular species. Their reproduction activity, their eating habits, their drinking, everything revolved around that one particular area. But now you have deteriorated that entire habitat for them. right now we are seeing initiatives that, okay, we have not destroyed the entire forest, but we have used a chunk of it. Now the chunk is basically running between, in the middle of the forest. So what has happened, that this is your entire forest and the government has carried out a highway exactly here. Such processes, they are basically fragmenting. They have divided the forest into two parts. Now there are such microbes, there are such microbial organisms who, with the creation, now for you it's just a small road here, just cross it. If you want to go to that side, you can cross it. But for various species, especially microbial species, it is fragmentation, and those who are on this side will never be able to come on this side, and same would be the case on the people, on the microbes who are living here. Now all these things, they have an impact. So loss of habitat, loss of habitat and the habitat fragmentation. Technically, according to you, you haven't done anything to the jungle, but you have caused this obstruction. And also we have seen n number of times various railway tracks, various roads that are being taken from or taken inside a particular jungle often leads to various accidents. We have seen various animals getting hit, especially elephants getting hit by railway lines. By different rails, okay, on these railway lines. So ultimately, according to you, it's just a very small chunk, but isn't it causing a trouble for them? At night, high speeding vehicles, they are hitting the animals. You might have taken various different other initiatives, but is it helping? No, it's not helping. Now again, we have a question for you. Name the first ever hospital that recently has been opened for the treatment of elephants who got hit with train injuries. Name as well as the location where these hospitals are located. Okay, the location is Agra and the hospitals are called jumbo hospitals. Jumbo pertaining to elephants. Jumbo hospitals. Okay, so habitat loss and fragmentation. Third thing that we have, obviously, degradation of land. The lands are deteriorating. Desertification is a real thing. At one particular point of time, in fact, you guys know there is a desert which is in making. There is a desert in making. History will witness a desert, okay, and the majority contribution for making of this desert goes to us, the humans. Now, can you please tell me where exactly this desert is located and what is its name? Okay, I'll give you a hint. It lies in African continent. Desert in making. Okay, another hint. A UN body, okay, named UNCCD, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, is formed only and only to address this particular desert. Name that desert in the making. Ever heard the name Sahel? S-A-H-E-L, the Sahel region. That's the desert in making. The UNCCD is a dedicated UN wing which is focusing only and only upon stopping desertification in the Sahel region. And once it touches Sahara, it would become the largest desert in the world. Sahara is already the largest desert. Just imagine the situation. There are 13 countries that have boundaries adjacent to the Sahel region, but the most important three are Mali, Chad and Niger. Okay, land degradation is happening, soil erosion is a real thing. Why soil erosion is taking place? Because deforestation is happening. Now with deforestation, what happens is all these trees, their roots, they have a soil holding capacity. Now when you don't have the trees, when you don't have their roots, the soil holding efficiency, it reduces. So as soon as water hits, okay, in the form of rainfall, the soil starts losing its layers, different sort of layers. Now there are various other factors. Rainfall is one of the most important ones, but apart from that, you have wind. It is also a very important factor, no? Which causes the land degradation, soil erosion. Okay, so you have this particular problem. So when we are talking about the loss of biodiversity, it cannot be limited to just one reason. There are n number of reasons that actually account for it.